Good afternoon. My name is Siqi. I'm a Chinese student in New York. If I choose to stay in New York after my graduation, in 5 or 6 years, I will probably get married and have a baby. Like most young Chinese adults, I will ask my parents to come to New York to help me take care of my baby. At this point, my family's happiness is at risk, because many examples tell me that this is time a problem starts. An old man I met in Chinatown told me his dilemma in New York. On one side, he couldn't find anyone to hang out with him. On another side, he doesn't really have much time to see his adult children because he thinks it is inappropriate to live with them after they get married. He is not an exception in Chinatown. He is a norm. Asian Americans are one of the fastest growing ethnic groups in the U.S. Many of these immigrants are older adults. Chinese Americans are the largest group and also the oldest. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that by 2050, the number of Asian Americans above 65 years old will be 3 times the higher than in 2000. A large number of the seniors came to the U.S. to follow their children and help raise their grandchildren. So, when I look back on my future picture, the difficulty for my parents is not 15-hour flight. It is when they board the flight, they break their social ties in China. They are going to face a ton of problems in New York. They don't know the language, culture, or policies in New York. This feeling of confusion is the same thing you feel when you try to read these Chinese characters on the screen. They also begin to miss their old friends in China, who are 1,000 miles away. Their family members here are too busy to give them much concern. These seniors, they also need to take care of their grandkids who seldom speak Chinese. In this situation, there are actually 2 types of isolation happening. One is between the senior and their family, and another one is between the senior themselves. Many seniors in this situation are considering going back to China because they feel extremely isolated in this city. Recent reports show that most Asian seniors have a small circle of friends. Among those living alone or in senior housing, only 3 in 5 have family living close by. 55% express symptoms of loneliness or depression. Among all these numbers, Chinese seniors make up more than half of Asian seniors in New York. You may wonder, with so many Chinese neighborhoods and Chinese people in New York, how could social isolation happen to them? Here is what I learned by interviewing isolated seniors. In China, your neighbors all speak the same dialect, right? However, in New York, seniors from South China found that they cannot communicate with seniors from North China who live in their neighborhood. Different languages and backgrounds also give them different perspectives. They think people with different values are difficult to be friends. Seniors who just came to the U.S. believe they do not have anything in common with immigrants who have been here a while. They believe that they do not share life experiences, education levels, or budget concerns. But the truth disproves their beliefs. Among over 20 interviews I did with isolated seniors, there are 4 common topics they repeatedly mentioned to me. These topics are their grandchildren, who they have deep love for. China, they showed a lot of interest in Chinese policy and its economy. They miss their homeland. They are also regularly reading Chinese newspaper every day. And they have a huge love for finding good shopping deals. So my hypothesis is that they can be connected by their common interests. Grandkids, Chinese news, their homeland, and good deals. My first prototype happened in an isolated senior's home. The old woman who I prototyped with was very quiet when we were alone, but as soon as her grandkids come back, she becomes very talkative and lovely. To me, this indicates that their love for kids can spark conversation. When it comes to Chinese news, during my interviews, the seniors not only showed interest, they also had strong opinions about what they were reading. I often went to the park to meet with seniors. There, I found that almost all of them were holding a newspaper. So I wondered, what does this newspaper mean to them? As people who grew up in 1940s, newspaper was the first media experienced, and they have a deep trust for it. I believe that this media can be a comfortable and a trusted platform to send important messages to seniors. In the past year, I normally went to a senior building twice a week to better understand their lives. Apart from 3 meals, seniors would like to go out for coupons. This tells me that good deals are motivation for seniors to go out and get together. So what I learned from this insight is that I need to design a reliable tool to motivate seniors to go out and make friends. This is a corner of Columbus Park. This is another corner of Columbus Park. In each corner of the park, you can always find a senior reading newspaper by themselves. So my solution is to use their most familiar media to help them connect with unfamiliar peers. I achieve this through Chinatown Connects, a community newspaper created by and for Chinese seniors to highlight their common interests and building lasting interaction opportunities among them. In this newspaper, there are 5 columns. The first column is titled, Tell Your Story. These are true stories of the daily life of seniors in Chinatown. This can help them find peers who have the same hobbies as them. The second column is My Excellent Grandkids. This is a section that shows their grandkids' funny story and talents and document their happy moments. And the Chinatown Kitchen. Here, seniors are free to share their secret recipes. Also, they can find about potluck events and secrets in the food market. Chinese New York Society. Here, seniors can get the latest news in Chinatown. Each section has a noteboard on side, along with contact information and activities. Seniors who are interested are able to reach out to them by phone calls or text. I started by sending my newspaper to a senior building in Chinatown and the Chinese community in Flushing. This lady, she got the newspaper from her mailbox. She read it and showed interest in an article that talked about fashion icons and handmade crafts. She texted the senior through the number on the newspaper. Philip, who is the manager in the senior building, is very happy about the connection and engagement happening through this newspaper. He showed interest in working with me. At the same time, I was also reaching out to New York City Department for Aging. We are now in the process of discussing an operation model for this newspaper. New York City Department for Aging can be responsible for producing the newspaper. Then it can be distributed to the managers of different Chinese senior centers. The managers of a senior center can introduce this newspaper to their seniors. After that, any connections or communications that happen based on the newspaper can be posted on the noteboard in the senior center. Each week, the manager can collect the stories and the data and report these connections to New York City Department for Aging as a data resource. With this system, each senior center becomes an enclosed cycle. Eventually, all the data can be sent to the New York City Department for Aging to help them make better decisions for their seniors programs. I believe Chinatown Connects can be a powerful bridge in New York City for reducing social isolation. It is already solved this issue step by step. Eventually, it will help elderly immigrants feel just as welcome as they feel in China. Thank you very much.